My name is Christina O'Dell, and I am so happy to welcome you to another installment of Edmonton Opera's Kitchen Concert Series. Every week, you'll get to meet another member of the Edmonton Opera Chorus, and we'll be sharing with you our favorite music and our favorite recipes as well. I've been a member of the Edmonton Opera Chorus since 2012, and oh my goodness, I can't even imagine life without the opera at this point. The choristers that I work with really have become family to me in the past 8 years, and it's been very hard not being able to see them and perform with them over the past 40 some days that we've all been kind of stuck inside. So today I'm going to share with you some music, but also a recipe that's been helping me get through this quarantine. It reminds me of happier times, and it also reminds me that it's spring outside. Today we are going to make blood orange gelato. So this is blood orange season, one of my absolute favorite times of year. And every year I typically run out and get a whole bunch of blood oranges. You might find that they say Moro orange on them. They remind me of when I lived in Italy. So yes, they are delicious. And if you hear chirping in the background, that's my pet budgies, Frank Sinatweet and Bing Chirpsby. They are chirping in their sleep right now, and I'm sure that when I start to sing, it's going to become a full-blown trio. So heads up there. All right, so blood orange gelato is probably the easiest thing that you will ever make. It's actually more of a sorbet or sorbetto than anything else because it only has 2 ingredients, sugar and fruit juice. So you get yourself half a cup of sugar or whatever sweetener you prefer, and then 2 cups of juice. Now this works for many different citrus fruits. You could do it with regular oranges. I just prefer the deliciousness of blood oranges. So the first step for me is going to be to juice all these oranges. If you have a more efficient way, lucky you. I use a very old-fashioned juicer that is much like the one that my grandmother has. So we'll see you in a little bit once I get all this done. Pro tip, roll the oranges on the counter first. It'll help release the juices. All right, here I go. I have many regrets that I put my ukulele right nearby what I was doing here. It's probably gonna smell like oranges for the rest of its days. Now, so that took me about 11 oranges to get 2 cups of juice. Depends kind of how juicy your oranges are. It'll be a little bit different every time. What I do like to do is toss in the juice of 1 lemon. I find that that makes it taste just that much more wonderful. All right, so now that all the juice is prepared, I am going to wash my hands and clean up a little bit and show you the next step. So the next thing you're going to want to do is strain your juice because there's going to be pulp and seeds that made their way in there, and you don't want that to be actually in your gelato. Pour it through. So what you're gonna do now, honestly, it gets super easy from here. You're gonna pour 1 cup, so half of your juice, into a pot. And you're gonna mix in the sugar and you're gonna heat it just until the sugar mixes in. You don't actually want it to boil. You just want it to heat enough that the sugar mixes into the juice. So here we go. So while my juice and sugar mixture is heating on the stove, I'm going to share with you my first song. It needs no introduction. It is a classic. that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I? All right. Let's see how our gelato's doing. So that's all it takes is a couple minutes over kind of low to medium heat. Give it a good whisk to make sure that there's no sugar crystals still. And then we are going to add this back into the rest of our juice. And that is basically it. So now it's time for the freezing. I like to freeze it in these little loaf pans. They're metal, so they cool down really fast. And I split it into 2 separate dishes because that way it'll freeze faster too. So here we go. Now I'm going to pop these in my freezer. So some of you are probably wondering at this point, Christina, why didn't you use an ice cream maker? The answer is simple, because I don't own one. If you have an ice cream maker, you can be done this process significantly faster than me, but it is completely possible to make ice cream without an ice cream maker. You just have to be very patient. So at this point, my little pans are in the freezer, and I'm going to stir them with a fork about every 45 minutes or so, just to sort of break up some of the lumps. And in the meantime, I'm going to share with you my next song. The piece that I want to share with you is by a pair of brothers who are as beloved in the opera world as they are in the jazz world, as they are in the musical theater world. And of course, I'm speaking of George and Ira Gershwin. They wrote this piece in 1938, and it speaks to the inevitability of change, and also how the only thing that remains constant is our love for one another. And I think that that's really resonating for me right now in these kind of difficult times. So here is Love Is Here to Stay by George and Ira Gershwin. It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may be passing fancies and in time may go, but oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble, they're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. Let's check on the gelato. In total, they are pretty well frozen in about 6 hours, but I'm actually gonna leave these in the freezer overnight now, which means I get gelato for breakfast. Absolutely worth the wait. We can't wait until we can join you safely in a live theater setting, but for now, thank you so much for joining me here in my kitchen, and tune in next week for another episode of Edmonton Opera's Kitchen Concerts.